I had a feeling that I might be coming on by myself today.
No, I'm back. But you feel like you have to start like this, right?
Right, right.
Hey,
Right.
welcome back to a Thursday episode of the Penalty Box Live. We have a special guest on today. Well, they're all special. So we have a great guest on today, and shout out to the Woodstock Inn and Brewery. You were just there like last week, right?
I did a little photo shoot. Of course, I had to do some taste testing. Hey, a side note before we get going do you see that meme that's going around with Bernie?
Yes.
Have you seen that? All right. So we did that in about 20 minutes. We pulled one together for the Woodstock Inn, had him sitting outside in a chair. They posted it, 1,200 likes like that.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I've seen it. What just fun, right? That Bernie Sanders shows up at this major, obviously historical event, and he just
right. And now everyone's using them. I saw some Buffalo.
Yeah. I'm sure Wes will comment over here in the private chat and let us know when Evan Carmichael is on. But today's guest is the incredible Evan Carmichael, author of several books. Evan is here, so Evan. Before we get to you, we always do a couple of shots on goal, and we'll make it quick today. And I'm going to go ahead and go first, but I'm going to. You know what? Philip Rivers just retired. Now he's retiring from the Colts. He is not a Hall of Fame quarterback.
No,
he's got great numbers, but he was never an MVP. He never went to a Super Bowl. Never won a Super Bowl. Obviously, he's not a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's got all the numbers, but that's longevity, right?
Yeah.
Now there is something to be said for longevity, but I don't. And if we look up 10 years from now, I don't know how long, 5 years before they can be voted into the Hall of Fame. It's not like the NFL is going to all of a sudden turn into a run-happy league. Right. His numbers are going to be obscured. He's top 5 or 6 in passing yards and passing touchdowns, and a great quarterback, but not every quarterback's a Hall of Fame quarterback.
No doubt. I think that he's got the stats, but he won't be first ballot for sure.
No, he'll get in, but that'll be a good class coming out at the same time. Yeah. So, do you have a shot on goal for me?
I got a real quick one. So, a couple of episodes ago, I talked about the best Christmas gift I got was that my niece was her mom had passed away, and I've been taking care of her since she was 16. Officially, her name change came through overnight, and so her last name is mine, and I'm very proud of her. And I wanted to shout out to her. And last shot on goal is I want to wish our new president and vice president the best of luck. And I think it's time for a change, and we move on, and we do good. They're not going to define my year, and we'll just keep going.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I saw some people on Facebook today kind of, literally someone said, I'm rooting for him to fail. And I just the page is turned, and you have to root for leadership to do well. I just don't get that mentality, and that's a whole nother probably story.
That's a different political show.
Yeah, our guest today, Wes, if you want to bring Evan in, let's get Evan on here. Evan is, hey, Evan.
Hey, there he is.
What's up, guys? Eric, Tim, good to be here, man.
You guys doing good? Before I got lots of questions, and we're and excited to have on, but I have to tell you, my daughter, she's 8, gonna be 9, and I said, so check this out. This guy's gonna be on our show. He's got 3 million followers, 3 million subscribers on YouTube, and she said, see people with 100 million. So she just blew you off. She just didn't even care, man.
I love it.
Evan,
I gotta make a bigger impact.
Can you dance like what that girl on TikTok, Carly something or other?
Carly D'Amelio.
D'Amelio, right.
D'Amelio. I can't dance like that. Evan, can you?
I own a salsa dancing studio here in Toronto. It's how I met my wife. So
yeah,
salsa dancing I can play in. Other kind of choreo, not so much.
No. Cool. All right. I wanted to kick this off with asking you. For me, last year, I kind of like to stick with a little bit of a theme throughout the years as things. And last year for me was a lot about adapt and adjust. This year, I'm give, grow, and gratitude. And if I follow those 3 things, I think a lot of really good things happen in my life and happen for my family and happen for my friends. And I know with you, it's believe, right? And when I listen to a lot of what you talk about, and I hear a lot of what you talk about, it's believe, and then there always seems to be a lot of effort behind that. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I think when you find out what your most important core value is, you end up being called to service. I think everybody here wants to feel like the work you do matters, that it's meaningful, that it's helping other people, right? You guys got your show, it's great, and yes, there's jokes and entertainment and fun, but also you want people to feel inspired or have learned something new. It's not just a waste of time to tune in, right? You want to feel like you're waking up every day and you're doing something that matters.
Right.
Even how you handled the last political comment of, hey, this is not what we believe, this is not what we stand for. If one person hears that and then decides not to go march in the Capitol because they heard Tim say that, right? Like, that's impact.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a matter of figuring out what is it that you stand for, and then how can you spread more of that to the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's your favorite Blue Jay baseball player all time?
All time is Kelly Gruber.
Really?
Third baseman. Yeah. I mean, so the Jays, I'm much more into esports than I am to traditional sports now, but Blue Jays were my team growing up, and I mean, we just signed Springer, so that's going to be a super interesting season to watch. But Gruber, 88, they came here, right? I was 8 years old, super impressionable kind of time. I went to the season opener with my dad. We took the streetcar there. So it was like, I didn't even know baseball, but it's just a fun thing to do with my dad, and I kind of got hooked. I don't know why I like Gruber. 92, 93, we won the World Series. So also kind of impressionable age. I'm 12, 13, Blue Jay hype. You get into it. I was doing baseball cards, all that stuff. My goal was to be a Blue Jay during the season and a police officer in the off season. That's what my 10-year-old self thought. Because, hey, you don't play all season, so what do you do in the off season? Well, I'll be a police officer. Why not?
Right.
I don't know what it was about Gruber. He wasn't even really. I think maybe he was our best player one season, but once we were winning, he won. I don't know if he was in both series, but he won at least the first one with us. But that's when we had Alomar, we had Carter, we had Olerud, we had Winfield, Molitor, and Cone, and like all these guys. So Gruber wasn't the star, but I don't know, just something about him. Maybe the work ethic, the hustle, the like chase down every play that just made me gravitate to him.
I've never been to Toronto to the stadium. But I saw a picture of you from a few years back with your wife, I think, and you were at Fenway Park. And obviously Tim and I have both been there, and there's so much history and what is Toronto compared? Is it even comparable from that standpoint of just the quaintness and the history of it all, or no? Or is it doesn't matter to you because you're a Toronto fan?
Well, I mean, it's hard to compare any stadium to Fenway. Fenway is a pretty special place. Our stadium is okay. I think it's a little dated. It was the first retractable roof. So that was the thing at the time. Like, oh my God, retractable roof. Partly because it's so cold here in Toronto. It's nice to have indoor heating during the season. Because our first stadium was exhibition stadium, and they were playing through snow. So you don't have to worry about that in South Florida, but we got to worry about that up here. Definitely not the history. Baseball is also relatively new in Canada, and Toronto is the only team now. I mean, we had the Expos that went. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I can compare anything to Fenway Park. It's a pretty special place. I've been to Boston a few times. That was my first time. I'd always kind of wished I had gone to the stadium. And so we made some extra time this time to just book the tour and go through and take pictures, and it was fun.
Yeah, the tour is absolutely incredible, and it's just cool to see it all. And if you're a baseball fan and soak it all in, I mean, I'm a baseball fan, but Tim, I've been doing all the talking. I know you got some questions.
Evan, I'm literally 35 miles north of Boston, so we get in there quite often. But if here's an open invitation: if you ever make it to New Hampshire, the AA affiliate of the Blue Jays is right here in Manchester, New Hampshire, and I will buy you a beer and a hot dog. So
all right.
I did have a business question. Going through some of your stuff, and a lot of people that are listening to this show are smaller business owners. They're sole entrepreneurs. They're entrepreneurs that are making their own way through a company, but in their own territory. If you could give any salesperson out there or marketer some advice of what's the best content, A, to put out right now, and B, should they be talking about their own brand, like Evan Carmichael or Tim Lord or Eric Bam, or should they be talking about the brand that they work for?
I think the best thing you can do is actually show you helping solve client problems. I think that's the number one piece of content. So many people are just posting. One, they're posting, look how much money I made doing this. You can too. Go sign up for my XYZ program. Or just talking heads where they're pulling up their phone and trying to talk a message into the camera. It takes skill to do that really well. A lot of people think it's easy and then they get in front of the camera and it's a lot harder than it looks. But if you've already had success in selling to your customers, you're great at having a conversation.
Right.
And people are almost always better when they're in front of somebody than if they're just talking to a camera. And so show me you doing that. Whatever you want to make money doing, show me the process of you doing it. So for example, if you're a mortgage broker, most people hate mortgage brokers. You don't want to talk to your mortgage broker. It's like the last thing you want to do is a million of them out there. What's the difference between one mortgage broker and another one? Well, you could be the mortgage broker who actually cares, and you can show me. What I would love to see is somebody comes to you and wants to get a mortgage, and you break down the process of what you look for, and you do it in your style, caring, empathetic, like whatever is part of your brand. And that's the goal, is you demystify this complex thing that a lot of people think about, and you become the go-to person. Now, they have to agree to be public. And so the way to do it is if they're being coached for free, then it's public, where they may not ever have access to you. If it's being paid, then it's private. Like if it's going to be an actual client of yours, and it's going to be private and not be online. But you're basically coaching people through the problems that they're facing in their life and how you can solve it. It's a way to promote what you're doing without promoting what you're doing, because you're just so good in demonstrating.
Yeah.
If you can't do that, if you're like, okay, I can't get anybody to come on with me, then pretend you're talking to a customer. Like, what are the top questions that your customers are facing? And then how can you solve it for them? So don't make it a sales pitch. Your goal with content online is to be seen as the go-to expert for this thing. If somebody was the expert on the Boston Red Sox and I was coming to Boston, maybe I want to go on a tour with that guy. Right there. You're picking the right team for you too, right? So if I'm going to go on a tour with somebody to the stadium, obviously now you have to be with Boston, but just as a theoretical example, the guy who's showing his love for Boston and answering people's questions and knows all the players and can name every lineup since 1922 or whatever, right? That's the guy that I would want to learn from, because I have a connection, even though he doesn't know who I am. If I've seen some of his content, I know who he is. I want the guy, like with you guys, with what's in the background. I want the guy who's wearing the hat. I want the guy who's having the players behind him on the wall. Like, I want that guy to be the guy that I go with, who's got so much Boston pride. When I did the tour, you can tell the people who were doing the tour, it wasn't just a job.
Right.
Like, they love the Red Sox. They love the stadium. They love the history. They love Ted Williams' seat in right field. Like,
yep.
They love it. And you ask them any question, and they have the most sophisticated answers to the most obscure questions. That's the thing about Boston Red Sox fans, but especially the people who are doing the tours. And so that's who you want to hang out with. And chances are, people listening, entrepreneurs, you're like that for your own business. You may not care about the Red Sox, but you care a lot about XYZ. And it's showing off that passion, that commitment, that knowledge, that care, because that's how you win as an entrepreneur. Why should I hire you instead of some big company? Why should I go with your mortgage brokerage instead of somebody else? When you're selling a commodity service like that, it's the relationship. Yeah, I feel like you treat me like I'm a human, that you actually care deeply about this industry. And so I want to work with you because I know your story and the content you put up, instead of some big brand that I heard of, but I'm going to be treated like a number.
Sure. And
go ahead, Tim.
That's worked for you in your business, I can tell.
I'm currently listening to Eat Your Lunch by Anthony. I can never pronounce his last name right. Irano. I can't pronounce it right. I apologize. But he talks about in business, if all things are equal, it comes down to relationship. And if all things are unequal, it comes down to relationship. And along the lines of that, kind of you talking about that led me into, we had Adrian Salisbury on last week with who's eCam specialist. And he talked about your vibe attracts your tribe. And that kind of leads me into my question of, how many times do you see people that have YouTube content that try to be someone else?
Often. And I don't think that's a bad thing at the beginning. I think it just makes you at best an Elvis impersonator. Right. But I think at the start, it's not bad. Like if you're picking up the bat for the first time, maybe you should try George Springer's swing. Right. Maybe you should try Griffey's swing. Maybe you should try who we got to get some not Yankees, some Red Sox. We got to try
Ramirez swing, David
Manny,
Ortiz swing.
But like if you tried, Manny Ramirez swing was not Ted Williams swing.
Right.
The approach, the leg kick, the angle, like it's all different. Is one better than the other? I mean, who knows? Yes, I guess arguably you don't have to debate who the greater player is, but your swing is probably be in between those two. Like your best swing is not going to be exactly Williams or exactly Ramirez. It's going to be some mishmash of trying all these other people's swings on. And so same thing when you're trying to figure out your style for creating content. Even you guys, you make this show, chances are at the beginning you had no idea what you're doing. So let's go look at what ESPN is doing, and let's go look at what all these other people are doing, and take some formats and take some styles, and some of them will fit and some of them won't. And the more you do it, the better you're going to get at figuring out what you guys are going to do. So I love modeling success at the beginning. It just, if you do it consistently enough, you recognize that you're taking different pieces from different people to help you be the best you, not to be the next anybody else.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Timmy?
Yeah, so there's a number of really impressive people on the wall behind you. And, I've been watching a lot of your videos, and I mean, you interviewed the who's who, the Tony Robbinses, the Mel Robbins, on and on. Is there someone that you have yet to interview, that one that has got away, the Gordon Ramsay, if you will, of that show, that, of the Hot Ones, that they were trying to get Gordon Ramsay forever? Is there someone that you really want to interview that you haven't been able to land yet?
I'm not aggressively pushing after people, but the two that I would love to have on, one is Kanye West. He's on the wall here behind me, because I think most people, when they interview him, are looking for the gotcha moments. Like they're looking to trap him, and he'll often take the bait, and so it turns into some crazy internet drama. But he's a genius, and I would love to get some of his entrepreneurial ideas out there. And I think it's a shame that he hasn't done more interviews with people, because he does fall into those traps so much. But I think there's a lot you could pull out of wisdom. And the other one would be Bill Gates. I haven't met him yet, but learning from his story is the thing that saved my company, my very first company, and why I even do all of this stuff. The idea of modeling success, because I had a software company and I quit on it. And I came back to it, and I said, I can't be the first one to have done this. Let me model success. Who's done it? Bill Gates, Microsoft. That blows up my company. So even though I've never met him, his story, his strategy saved my company and then gave birth to everything I'm doing now. So really just to say thank you. And I don't know that I even have a question for him, but just to give him the recognition, I guess, for having an impact on me.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
I want to ask you about Gary Vaynerchuk, and there seems to be just a lot of similarities between you guys as far as kind of the message that you preach. And you feel like, we were talking before you got on the show, before we show started, about being a connector, and you feel like just this natural connector of you take all this info and you put it out there because you're a self-described introvert, but yet you want to help and you want to give. And so Gary Vee, I noticed on your Instagram, you post 3-4 times a day, right? And I feel like social media is a moving parade, so to speak. Can you talk about any of those like basics? You should do this every day. By the way, I read one person said Gary Vee is a poor man's Evan Carmichael.
Wow. Well, I'll thank you.
That's a lot of stuff, but if you want to unpack all that.
Yeah, I think it starts with you being able to tell your story. I think it starts with understanding where you came from and why this is so important to you. Because until I understand why, you haven't hooked me on the how. For a lot of people creating content, you're trying to teach, you're trying to educate, you're trying to tell them how to do something. But until they get that you actually came from where they came from, they don't want to listen to you. It's like, oh, easy for you to say, you're all the way over there, and you don't know what I've been through. Meanwhile, you probably do. And maybe you went through worse. So sharing your story, definitely. And then I think the easiest blanket statement is make the content for who you used to be. So think back to however old you were was the hardest point in your life. For me, it's 19-year-old Evan when I wanted to quit on my business. But think back to your life. You can touch that person in a way that Evan Carmichael can't, and Gary Vee can't, and Tony Robbins can't, and none of these people can. You could touch them because you used to be that person.
Right.
And the person you are now, is impossible compared to who you used to be. If you think back to who you were at 25 and you look at where you're at now, it's like, I would never become that person. Like, that's not possible. And then here you are doing it. And so that's your job, is to create content for the younger version of you, and then recognize that there are millions of people who currently right now are the younger version of you.
Right.
And they don't think it's possible. And you're here to say, no, it is. You can. I've done it. Let me show you how.
Yeah. That's
cool.
Cool.
I was thinking in reading your story, what do you think your life would be like other than incredibly rich if you had landed that $40 million deal instead of procrastinating on getting the proposal absolutely perfect?
He's done his homework. Yeah, I was 22. I lost a $40 million deal. I don't know. I spend zero time thinking about it.
Good. That's it.
Like literally zero time. I'm worried about what am I doing right now. I don't worry about all of the pitches that I could have swung at and missed, or took a walk instead of going for the home run. I mean, it's done. I'm grateful for where I'm at. I'm happy to be here talking to you guys. Like, if I make that deal, I'd probably never talk to you guys.
And that, I guess that's kind of where I was thinking. I wasn't thinking it as a negative.
He's right now at this moment regretting not making that deal.
What? I wasn't thinking it as a negative. I was thinking it as more of a positive, meaning all the people's lives you've touched because you didn't land that deal is probably an incredible blessing. That's what I was.
What that made me do was I call myself a recovering perfectionist because of that deal. And so I used the sting of that deal to then push me into the things that I'm afraid to do. You know, Tony Robbins came on the channel last week. We did a half an hour interview, and it's the second time he's been on, but I was nervous and scared still going into that one. And I want to not have regrets in my life. So if I'm going to say yes, and let's go and let's push towards it instead of trying to be perfect. That's how I use that event. I don't really think about it too much now, unless people bring it up, but it was never, oh my God, I wish I did that, and my life would be totally different, and I would be living on, I don't know. I just don't think backwards.
Right.
Well, I have this written down because I like to ask this question a lot. It kind of leads into that. What are you insecure about?
Disappointing people. My greatest fear is disappointing people. Even as we started this show, I'm in the waiting room. They're like, is Evan here? Like, I'm here, guys. Like, are we starting? Did they know I'm here? I hope they know I'm here.
Yeah, we saw you.
And then I hear you guys talking sports, and like, oh my God, if we're talking esports, I can go deep, but traditional sports, I'm actually super out of touch. That football player you were talking about, I didn't even know who he was. Philip something. So I'm looking him up, like in the backstage. It's like, what sport does this guy play? Who is this guy? And I looked it up, and then I remembered the Jays just signed somebody, Springer. So I looked that up just to have, like, is this a sports show that we're only talking? Great, let's go.
That's hilarious.
You want to talk about 92 Blue Jays? I'm down. We want to try to name the whole roster. So I mean, obviously you guys brought me on for a reason. I doubt you're going to bring me on just to talk about American football, 2022 rosters and all this stuff. But I'm worried about disappointing people. I don't want to show up and give you a bad show, right? It's not about me. Like, I don't want you guys to feel like, oh, that was a waste of an episode, or people comment and they don't like it, and that hurts whatever you're doing. But what I've learned to do is not let that be the reason for not doing it. Like, that's not a good enough reason. The fact that I might fail or might flub or might be embarrassed that I don't know who this football player is that might be a Hall of Famer. He's not. That's not a good enough reason for me not to say yes and show up.
Right.
And so it's and that's today. Like, I'm not giving you an example from when I was 20, right? That was today, 20 minutes ago. So it's a constant thing that I battle. And I think that's normal. I think that's good. I think if you don't have anything in your calendar that you're nervous about, then I don't think you like your life. I think you're just photocopying the same day over and over and over and over again, and you slowly hate your life. There should be some things that give you a little bit of anxiety or nerves that are coming up. That means you're growing and learning and getting better. So I actually like the offbeat stuff. Like, for shows, when my assistant's booking me on shows, I like the weird stuff. We're going to mix sports and business. I don't know. Great. Let's try. Let's go and see what happens. because I like the push and I like the challenge.
Gotcha. Hey, Wes, will you throw up that link that I sent you earlier? Because I wanted to ask Evan about this if he can throw. There we go.
Oh, nice.
2 questions. Number one, with that head of hair, did you ever think about being in a boy band with this smoldering look or anything? Or was
No, that was a friend of mine was a photographer. I mean, a startup photographer, and she needed.
Wes, throw that back up again. Throw that back there.
There it is. Yeah. So a friend of mine was a photographer. That was filmed. That was shot in my home through the railings. Like in front, you can see the railings that are kind of blurry.
Sure.
I don't know whatever happened to it. I guess it was a portfolio piece for her. I said, sure, I'll do it. My hair was never that spiky. She just kind of did my hair she had a certain angle she was looking for. So that's the thing. Like you say yes, right?
Right.
That's super
Wes,
awkward.
you can take that down now. That's like some Melrose Place stuff right there.
Well, it's very kind of you to say. I felt super awkward and embarrassed doing it. Definitely outside my comfort zone. But that's the point, right? It's like, that's the point.
Well, my second question regarding that. So now we've got the hairstyle we've got now. Do you shave your own head, or does someone professionally do this for you, or what?
It depends on time. Well, so now with COVID, like, right? Like, we're in lockdown here in Toronto, so like, forget it. My wife sometimes will do it if I'm in a rush and it needs to look good. She'll do it. If I have a little more time, I'll do it, but I might miss some spots at the back or something. So it just depends on how much time I've got. Usually it's me, just because I like to be independent and just be in control. But
well, Wes, throw up that shirtless picture of Evan now, please. I'm kidding. He's looking.
Okay, I'm like, where is it? Listen, I accidentally did a show in my undershirt last week. I did the Tony Robbins interview, and then I was so hot and sweating from doing it, just from being nervous and excited and everything, that then on my break, I took off my sweatshirts, like wool heavy kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then I had another interview right away, and I forgot to put the sweatshirt back on. And as soon as I come on stream, like, oh my God, I'm in my undershirt. And then I thought, you know what? Let's go. Right? Like, let's go. I'm sure that he would have been okay if I said, hey, can you give me like 4 seconds? But I don't want to be that guy who's just afraid. So I want to jump into the fear and do it anyway.
Right. Evan, but pre-COVID, how many keynotes a year were you doing? How much were you traveling?
Not quite half the month, but close.
Wow.
It was really picking up. End of last year. No, I guess 2019 into 2020 now, right? Because now we're in January.
Right.
I was away for like maybe 3.5 straight months. But then there was going to be a lull. Anyway, my speaking career was really picking up, but whatever. I mean, again, who cares? I'm speaking to you guys, right? I mean, let's just forward, right? I mean, we spend zero time thinking about what could have been, and instead all the energy focused on where we're going.
Yeah, love it. Where, we need to get in and talk about the book, and so maybe Wes can throw the link up for the book. And I've downloaded it, and I walk every day and started listening to Built to Serve, and I love it. It's an easy listen, if that makes sense. We're not talking 30-minute chapters, and it's quick, and I love it. And I wanted to kind of dig into the who, the why, and the how, because it's so funny to me sometimes we read books like this that I don't want to use the word basic, and because I don't want to degrade the book, but it's stuff we know, right? It's stuff we know, but we have to be just spoon-fed stuff. And to be spoon-fed, what's your who? Who are you doing this for, right? So can you in a couple of seconds of each one talk about the who and the why and the how and what those look like and how to get to them?
Yeah, and I know we've only got like a minute left, but
better make it quick.
Super quick. Your who is your most important core value. So mine is believe. Everybody else will have their own. So figuring out what you stand for, that's going to be the roadmap for the rest of your life. Your why is probably the most important part, and that's your purpose. And your purpose comes from your pain. You don't have to sit on top of a mountain for 10 years meditating or journaling or whatever to figure out your purpose. That's the number one question you ask. How do I find my purpose or my passion? Your purpose is to help people who currently are who you used to be. Yeah. Your purpose comes from your pain, period. You'll love doing that for the rest of your life. Helping somebody who is the 19 version of you, for me, will be forever. I'll be 120 as long as I can still use my head. I'll still be spitting out content to try to help 19-year-old Evans of the world. And then the how is how you do it. So that will change. Right now, you guys have this show, amazing. You're live streaming it. 5 years ago, it would have been a different format. In 10 years, these guys are going to be beaming into your living room through virtual reality and holograms. Like the how will change with time, but the who is your most important core value. It's how you treat people.
Yeah.
The why is why you do the thing, to serve the people who currently are who you used to be, and then the how you execute will change over time. But the who and the why stay constant.
Well, the book is phenomenal. We know we just have a certain amount of time. I know you said your favorite movie is Seabiscuit. What's your second favorite movie?
I don't know. It's a good question. I watch Donnie Brasco a lot. I don't know where that comes from, but I watch that a lot.
Now you have a son. How old?
11.
And so are you watching anything on Disney Plus? Anything that jumps out that you're like, I've seen this 100 times because of my son?
No, he's more into Minecraft. So we do Minecraft.
Oh, yeah.
Like we're building homes and creating villages. And that's not really my game, but I do it for him.
League of Legends, right? Is that your game?
I love League of Legends. He plays it for me, and I play Minecraft for him.
Very nice.
Well, I got to tell you, I watched one of your videos today, and you were interviewing someone, and the League of Legends is behind you guys, and you guys are playing and talking. I couldn't remember how to hit X or Y, whatever. That's quite a talent. It's
fun. Yeah, we do live stream 4 days a week, answering business questions while I play video games. So it's fun.
Nice. So Evan, before you get out of here, two things. One, how can everyone get a hold of you? And two, what's in the future for you?
To get a hold of me, I mean, if you want to pick up the book, Amazon's probably the easiest spot. Built to serve. Otherwise, wherever you're hanging out, I'm probably there. YouTube, Instagram, just look up Evan Carmichael, will be there. And what was the second question?
What's in the future for you?
Oh, this show, I'm looking forward to
this is over. This is past tense now.
But when's the replay coming out, right? We got to promote it on YouTube and let everybody know.
It's live on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot more of the same. I want to have a bigger impact. I want to grow my channel. No book planned. I still love Built to Serve. Like that's still the big message right now going forward. A few secret projects that are in the works that I can't talk about quite yet, but
it's just us. Go ahead.
Stay tuned.
We've got like 2 followers. Just go ahead.
Go ahead.
It's coming. It's coming.
He's getting excited. He's bouncing there. He's getting excited.
I'm on a trampoline too, so that
he may take his hoodie off. Who knows?
Yeah, so right, the undershirt moment.
I know you have to leave, but I know you're an investor as well. You probably invest in other businesses and stuff. But if you ever come back, I'd love to get your take on Bitcoin.
I don't really have a take on Bitcoin. I don't invest in crypto. Not that it's good or bad. I think you have to stick to what you know. So I love YouTube. There it is. I love entrepreneurs. But I don't
be looking on that for 10 minutes.
I love it. Hey, that's talent there. I don't do real estate. I barely do stocks. And so you have to stick to what you know. So crypto is definitely the future. Is it going to be Bitcoin or not? I don't know. But I also don't. I know enough to know that I don't want to know about that market.
Yeah.
I've got too many other things I have to worry about. It's like, what's my take on that football player? I don't know. I'm invested into esports. The same thing. There's so many opportunities that you pick your spots. The most dangerous thing to do is go buy Bitcoin because Evan Carmichael on YouTube said buy Bitcoin, right? Which is how a lot of people make the decisions. Like, oh, he said it was hot, so let's go and all in and buy. I'm going to mortgage my house and buy Bitcoin because Evan said to, right? You have to be an expert at what you're doing.
Evan, what's your favorite pizza topping?
Pepperoni, like one topping.
Yeah, whatever you want.
Yeah, pepperoni.
All right, cool.
I think the Patriots, the Crafts, are involved in the esports league. I think they have something to do with it. I'm not really sure.
There's a lot of sports money, mostly basketball coming in, but there's a lot of sports money. Yeah, in esports for sure.
Great. Well, Evan, we're going to let you get out of here. We appreciate it. We're both, all three of us, Tim, Wes, and I are in a mastermind group with Joe Soto, and we saw you on his live with him. And so that's when I hit you up. And so thank you for joining us. And Wes, can you, before he gets out of here, can you put that picture up of him shirtless just one more time? Or
there it is.
Cigar.
I didn't notice the cigar the first time around. There you go. Right, cool. Well,
nice.
Thanks for having me, guys, and give my regards to Joe.
We will. See you, Evan. Thank you.
Mark.
Much love.
See ya.
Well, that was good.
That was great.
He in the book he talks about you find your purpose from your pain, and that's it's so right, and it's so like I said, I don't like some of these books. You read them, and we listen to them, we read them, we talk about them, and it's so much basic stuff that we know. It's just we just need that kick in the ass sometimes to go do it or to think about it. Right.
As I've gotten to know him by reading a little bit about him and now listening to him live, he's a guy who did well. All right, we all know that. And but instead of out there searching for the next big deal, he's decided that he's going to help, like he said a couple of times, 19-year-old Evan not make the same mistakes that he made and push them forward. I love it. I really do.
Right. Hey, good stuff today. Next week, we've got Todd Collins back on Tuesday, and Todd is he's a digital social media guy. Really good. He's really done really well on TikTok. He's smart. He's engaged. He works with a lot of restaurants, a lot of other businesses. Super smart guy. We've got a lot of good guests coming up. We've got Jesse Cole coming up to Savannah Bananas coming up. We've got who else? We've got what's his name? I can't. The eat your lunch. What's his name?
Oh, Anthony. Anthony, the guy.
I can never pronounce his last name right, so that I'm gonna have to figure this out.
We need Michelle. We need Michelle to pop on and tell us how to say it correctly. So.
Yeah, for sure. Well, anyway, I think that's all I've got. I'm trying to not lose my voice the rest of the day. So as always, it's fun to hang out with you. Wes, you want to jump on? You got anything to say?
I have absolutely nothing to say except it was a great show having Evan on, and I think it's Anthony Iannarino.
Iannarino. Yeah.
See, I knew that we had. Oh, his beard is back too. By the way, did you notice?
Yes,
that?
it is. Bad Black Bart is in the house. We're talking about the shirt, and Evan. I mean, Wes is over like. It was ready. It was ready to go, and I'm just like, "Are you kidding me right now?" But he loved it. So when I said, "Hey, Evan, we got a picture of you shirtless," he was instantly like, "Where's it at?" He was looking up at the monitor.
I thought I'd missed something.
Yeah, I know. I just playing around. I did have a note down to ask him if he knew Britney Spears, but didn't get to it. So, wah. And a lot of people joined us today. Thank you for watching. You guys got anything else?
Nope. Just be safe out there.
Yeah, be incredible.
See ya.